I want to go second. But yeah, they're trying to get their story straight of like where are they coming from, where are they going, and then they both come up with this story of like, oh, they're just like, you know, like traveling to meet, you know, their sister or whatever, who's like 3 towns over. You know, they're just trying to be as vague as possible. And so they're like, yeah, we're just going to visit our sister who's like 3 towns over. She just had a kid, and so we're going to visit our sister. And we just stopped at a pool hall to, you know, like get some gas and take a break or whatever. And then what ends up happening is, oh, this is debatably a better hand. What ends up happening is they end up playing a couple games of pool, and so they're like really good pool players, and then these guys come up to them trying to hustle them. And so what ends up happening is they play these guys, and then they win the first game, and then that's a part of the hustle. Is they play kind of shitty the first game, but then the guys, because they're trying to hustle them, they let them win the first game. And then the next game is like, okay, double or nothing. So then it went from like being a $300 game to like being a $600 game. And so the second game happens, and then it's kind of close. You know, his buddy messes up a shot and doesn't, you know, sink it or whatever. And so it's a lot closer, but they still manage to win. And then what winds up happening is they manage to win, but just barely. And so now I don't need this, and then this. Is they end up playing for like double or nothing. Like in a third game, and this game they just blow them out. And at that point, like the hustlers realize that they've been hustled, and then they're kind of pissed off. Then they begrudgingly are like, "Here's your money" or whatever. And so they give them the money, and then they leave the bar or whatever. And then while they're at the bar, or while their other buddy that they knew was at the bar, they're back at their hotel, like just talking about the money that they got, like, because like, again, these guys had just come from like, you know, an actual pool tournament, and they've won like, you know, like $10,000 or something like that. So like the the $1,200 or the $1,200 like $2,000 that they had just won was kind of really, in the long scheme of things, nothing. In the long scheme of things. And so they're at the hotel, and then their buddy calls him from the phone at the bar, calls at their hotel because he knows where they're staying at, and he's like, "Hey man, I don't mean to scare you or nothing, but you guys probably need to get the fuck out of town." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "You know those guys that you just beat?" And they was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, they're pissed off that they lost their money to you, and they got hustled by you, and them and their buddies are like trying to come over with some guns, and they're basically gonna rob you." And so he basically was like, "You guys need to get out of town. You guys need to get out of town like right now." And so even though they had been like traveling on the road for basically like 2 days straight, they get up, leave the hotel, and then immediately like peel out of there, because again they're about to get like mugged by these guys or these hustlers that are mad that they got hustled essentially. Okay, thank God that's in the grave. I won't need this. But no, it was wild. It was indeed a wild story. Wild story. Have no fear. Ancient Gear Golem is here. This is fine. We don't care about this. But that was the story that my buddy told me. Who was like a professional dart player or whatever. That's the story my professional dart player buddy told me about his buddy who happened to be a professional pool player, or I guess I should say semi-professional dart player. Battle phase. All right. It's Ancient Gear Golem time. It's time to Ancient Gear Golem, chat. Yu-Gi-Oh! GG. Go back to Slifer Red.